Welcome, folks. Another session of God's Secrets. Today we're going to talk about music and spirituality. Rabbi Shimon teaches that musical instruments were used by all the prophets to reach an ecstatic state and mood before they would receive the spirit of prophecy. Every prophet used music to ascend to the state of ecstasy, to receive prophecy, except for Moses, who didn't need any external aids. Just came down to Moses automatically. He didn't have to get there. But even Moses played a flute. Moses played a wooden flute. One ascent to the light is by song. As song draws the light of creative divine inspiration called Chachma, which means creativity. Literally in Hebrew, Chachma is made up of two words, Koach Ma, the power of what? Sort of like the creative inspiration in music, like we see in provision, jamming. This is taught in the Sulam commentary. Sulam means a ladder, and the Sulam commentary and the Zohar, the Book of Illumination, to Kunim, the corrective Book of Illumination, that the ascent to the light, to the divine revelation, is by song, which draws the creative energy. The Shir Kuma teaches that there rises song and tune by way of elevation. This begins elevation and arouses below to above. You got the song, then in that song you got the tune that moves in it, and that rises your spirit and your space up to a higher level to receive a higher level of revelation, vibration, creative energy, and connection to flow, to bring below and share with the world. After this descends flow to the level below, and the secret of including in all men and this energy. We're not just talking about doing it for you when you jam, but the energy goes out in your surrounding lights, depending on the development of your soul, how many people you reach. Even when you're not directly playing the music in front of them, it goes out and goes out like the waves in the sea. Spiritual energy. So eventually it can include all men in the secret of remembering portions for the tikkun, the fixing, the correction. The vibrations that come out through the song, they go out and they cause a remembrance. And this type of remembrance is similar to an invocation of certain corrective divine energies in the secret of each and every measure, thus repairing all damages in oneself and the worlds as is permitted, and such as is merited. God created and formed all the creation according to the laws of musical harmony. God created humans with wisdom in His own image according to harmonic proportions. Music includes natural, mathematical, acoustic laws of vibrations. Just like the body is so complex, and the molecular and the biochemical patterns of regulation in the body and its structure. So to music itself is like that, in that it comes from an arrangement of order, and mathematical sequence of acoustic laws of vibrations, and they link with the 22 letters in which the Bible was written, the 22 Hebrew letters, and that the 22 letter notes, the musical aspect of the Hebrew alphabet, Hebrew, the number to note correspondence is 1. And then, like in English, where you have the number 1, and you have the letter A, in Hebrew, the letter A or Aleph is the number 1. There is no other system in Hebrew of numbers but the letters. So each of a word is a number, has a numerical value intrinsic to it. The Hebrew law of music is part of the Torah, which is part of the divine blueprint of creation, including the cosmos. When we say that the Hebrew law of music is part of the Torah, which is the blueprint of creation, we talk about a blueprint. A blueprint is usually something that reveals a design or structure of that which will be built or does exist, and from which the thing can be built from. But in the Torah, we talk about the Torah as the blueprint of creation. We're not talking of just a design book, but actually the vibrations that come out from singing the Torah, the Bible. The Bible, when it was given as a song and a tune, which is part of the oral tradition of how it is sung, and the tune in which there's stop and starts, and in the song of the Bible, that they continue to emanate energy, which, when it is sung, that it brings corrections and sustenance into the physical world and the spiritual worlds, all worlds. The building blocks of biblical Hebrew are not number letter, but 2-letter word roots. As we said, that each letter is a number, and it reflects an order of structure, and understanding can be reached by understanding the mathematical values of each of the letters, which include notes, but each 2 Hebrew letters is the root of a word. And that those 2-letter combinations each bring out a creative energy when they're joined, which is the source and the foundation of the thing, which is made from the 2-letter root of the word, as we see in the book called the Sefer Yitzur, the Book of Creation, which is a book on meditation from Abraham of the Bible, where he teaches what's called the 231 gates, where you join each letter with the other letters, and there makes the 22 letters in the Bible, Hebrew letters, makes what's called the Ural Sharim, the 231 gates. The first combination, the first 2 letters of the Hebrew alphabet are Aleph and Beit, like A and B in English. First letter would be Abba. Join the A and B. Abba means father. It's the energy of father. Abba. And then you do it backwards. Ba'a. That means to come. Abba, ba, father comes. The building blocks of the Hebrew language are not numbers and letters, but they're these 2-word words like Abba, ba, that father comes and invokes that energy when you meditate on the sounds of the creative force coming from the letters. Each root possesses its own meaning, and from these radiate out the different meanings, which at first sight appear totally unrelated, but it's all interconnected and making the whole complete. The basic building brick of music is not the number note but interval. Each interval possesses its own character, quality, polarity, and attention. Each value, especially within its own cadence, 1 to 10. The natural basic law of acoustics, the basic natural law of acoustics is the spontaneous generation of overtones of any note sounded. It generates further notes, which is simply orderly whole number multitudes of the fundamental vibration. In other words, that the song that you do, the overtones continue to build and they go on really forever. Sort of like throwing a rock into a pond, and it makes one ring in the water, another, and music makes its waves in the world. Professor Hess of Vienna writes that harmonics in science of identical laws of proportion in nature, harmonics is the science of identical laws of proportion in nature and man and in music. There are 12 basic, 12 of the most important intervals that are frequently used both in music and in nature. Professor Hess lists them as follows: cadences and dissonances, octave 1 1 2, minor 7th 5 9, fifth, minor 2nd 8 9, a 4 3 4, major 7th, major 6, minor 2nd, major 3rd, tritone 3245, minor 3rd 5 6, and minor 6. And these correspond to the 12 permutations of the name of God in the Bible. Yud, He, Vav, He. The 4 letters in this name, 4 letters permeate to 12 different names, 12 different sequences, like Yud, He, Vav, and He, or Yud, He, He, and Vav. And these 12 correspond to the most important intervals that are found used in both music and found in nature. They also correspond to the 12 what are called the simple Hebrew letters. These are the letters in the language of the Bible, Hebrew, that only have one sound. There's 7 letters that have 2 sounds. If you put a dot in them, they can the same letter as 2 completely different sounds. And these intervals, which correspond to the 12 permutations of the name Yud, He, Vav, He, and the 12 simple letters also correspond to the 12 hours of the day, and the 12 hours of the night, and the 12 constellations. And all of this is explained in the book that was written by Abraham, our father, in the Bible. Abraham, and the book is called the Book of Creation, Sefer Yetzirah. Well, looks like we're coming to close the session of the God's Secret. There's a lot more, though, to this secret traditions about music and spirituality. So I'll leave it to you to go and learn some more. You'll link up here, so y'all enjoy everything. Enjoy the music. Music lifts the soul, lifts the spirit. It's really beautiful for you. Even better is to do it. Make your music. Bring out the sound of your soul. Thank you for joining us for this session of God's Secrets.